Hey everybody, Motorpoet59 here. I have interacted with some people in the real world and some people on social media platforms and whatnot uh, who seem to be surprised that, knowing what I went through with COVID, they seem to be surprised that I don't support vaccine mandates. Um, I support vaccines. I'm vaccinated. I don't have a problem with the vaccine itself. And it's not just the vaccine mandate. I oppose most government mandates that have to do with anything because they are generally mandated for the wrong reasons. Uh, Either those reasons are just misrepresented, sometimes they're just outright bullcrap. I don't like the government interfering in people's lives. The people are supposed to be the ones running the government. The government are not supposed to be the ones running the people. But that's the way it's become over the last 50 or 60 years. The government and the people have swapped places, and not enough people seem to be willing to initiate change that would make that start turning the other way again. I don't know why. I don't know how Americans or when it was or what it was that caused them to determine that the government was better at running their lives than they were. But at some point that happened and it needs to turn around. Now, I don't oppose all government mandates. Some government mandates have been good ideas. The car seat mandates for children. That was a very good idea. That has saved countless children's lives. And children, they were killed in minor car accidents. And when that mandate, which was eventually signed into law by all 50 states, that was a good idea. And when that happened, I started wearing seatbelts. My oldest daughter was very young when that happened. I remember exactly what year it was. My pickup that I had at the time didn't even have a center seatbelt in it. I had a 1980 Datsun pickup. I had to go buy a kit, put a seatbelt kit in, and my ex-wife and I, her mother, decided that, hey, if she's going to be belted in, we might as well be belted in too, so if we get in a car wreck, we're not dead and she don't have parents. So I didn't mind that. But the 55 mile an hour mandate, that was a bogus mandate. That was such crap. Done under the guise of saving fuel. If the government really wanted to save fuel in America, they could have mandated, rather than bullying states and bullying people, and they could have gone to the car manufacturers who had designed carburation fuel systems as early as the mid 50s. That would have more than doubled the fuel mileage of those big gas hog V8s that were being sold back then. But oil companies didn't want things to go that way, and I'm sure that they threw some money at the car companies to keep that from happening. The government could have intervened and made that happen, but they didn't, because the oil companies and the car companies started throwing money at the government. And so who did they take it out on? The people. They mandated the 55 mile an hour speed limit in the guise of being safer, saving fuel. It was neither. I always liked the line from the movie Gumball Rally where the two guys were talking about the 55 mile an hour speed limit, and they said it's slow enough to make you feel like you're safe and still fast enough to get you killed. And when they mandated the 55 mile an hour speed limit, we still have seatbelt laws. People were still getting thrown through the windshield and tossed out of cars when they flipped over. Maybe they should have mandated seatbelts first. And what do we end up with? 2 decades of ugly, slow, emission controlled, gutless cars that still got bad gas mileage. It was about revenue. It was about revenue. And there were a few states that weren't going to go. They left that mandate. They left it up to the states to make the decision. And there were some states that weren't going to go along with it. And the government bullied those states into compliance by telling them if they didn't cede to the mandate, then they would lose their federal highway funding and any other federal assistance that might go to that state. So they bullied those states into doing it. I always wish there would have been some states that stood up to that, but I kind of get it. States get a lot of money from the federal government, and it makes a big difference in a lot of areas. So that's the way they did that. And it really didn't save any lives and it really didn't save any gas, but it made municipalities a lot of money in tickets. Let's get to the seatbelt mandates and the helmet mandates. Those were enacted for one thing and one thing only, one reason and one reason only. They didn't really care if people got killed not wearing seatbelts, and they really didn't care if people got killed not wearing helmets, because if you're killed, there's no bills. This was about people who didn't have insurance being severely injured in accidents, and it was costing the states, it was costing the federal government, it was costing a lot of people a lot of money. Those injuries, some of these people were in permanent vegetative states and comas for years, and with no one to pay for it. And that is what the helmet laws were all about, and that's what the seatbelt laws were all about. Undoubtedly, those two mandates that became laws, those two have saved a lot of lives. There's no doubt about it. They've saved a lot of lives. They've saved a lot of nasty injuries. There's no doubt about that. But I still don't like the idea of the government telling adults what they can and can't do. I have one friend who all these years later refuses to wear a seatbelt. He just absolutely refuses to wear a seatbelt. No, that's his thing. If he gets thrown through the windshield, and he's on Medicare now, so no matter. He's got insurance. But anyway, I'm not a fan of mandates. The vaccine mandates, it's like I said, I'm not opposed to the vaccine. I've never understood anti-vaxxers, but they have the right to feel that way. They have the right to choose for themselves and for their children. And I don't like it when the government steps in and starts telling people how to run their lives and how to raise their kids. I wish everybody would get the vaccine. If for no other reason than all this COVID crap would just end. I still believe that within 5 years or so, this will all be behind us. The vaccines will be proven to have been effective, and this will all just be an interesting footnote in history. I've said that before. So anyway, what do you think about mandates? Are you opposed to them like I am just in general, with a few exceptions, or are you only opposed to the vaccine mandate? Let me know in the comments below. Shoot me an email, motorport59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all later.